first pitch that we will hear today is from the team who have been looking at improving compliance for child maintenance payments. Please put your hand together for our first team as they come in. Thank you very much.
Hello. 4.3 million children in the UK are in poverty, and 3.6 million of those are in separated families. Engagement with the child maintenance system can be emotive, stressful and challenging for paying parents, for receiving parents, and for our agents who work in the system. 80% of requests to change income by paying parents who are self-employed fail due to a lack of income. My name's Kate, and it's really exciting to be here today. We're a team comprising DWP Business Strategy, Child Maintenance Operations, DWP Fraud, and HMRC Transformation, and we've been working together with our colleagues and our senior leaders to try and solve this problem. Paul is going to show you the process change and improvement that we've already made through the data challenge. Alvin and Gemma are going to set out the benefits that creates for our agents and for our customers. And Gemma and Bacola are going to set out our ambitions to go further and to do more. We think, and we're confident, our pitch today is strong because we've already delivered some tangible improvements, and we've got a clear plan to automate that and to go further. And we think the case is obvious to develop and deliver an accurate, fair, and responsive system for people in child maintenance.
One of the challenges we face in assessing how much maintenance a paying parent should pay is establishing their income. This can be particularly difficult with self-employed earners, as we currently rely on clerical evidence for these decisions. As Kate touched on earlier, self-employed income requests are associated with a very high rejection rate. In 2022, a little over 80% of these service requests were rejected. And we know this is largely due to customers being unable to provide evidence. Our team has identified that an interface we already have with HMRC that was originally intended for a very different purpose can provide us with the evidence we need to make these decisions. We've developed a simple process to access this data, which I'm going to show you now. So the caseworker would simply just access the paying parent's records and request an income breakdown. And this will create a new income record detailing employed and self-employed earnings. Since our last presentation, we've thoroughly tested this solution. We've ensured that the data we require is available and accurate. We've liaised with our technical colleagues who have confirmed there are no system issues. And we've consulted our colleagues in policy and legal who have now given us the go-ahead to embed this new process across the business. Using this new process will eliminate the need for clerical evidence, allow caseworkers to make faster, fairer decisions, and dramatically reduce the number of service requests that are rejected.
As someone who works on the front line as a caseworker in child maintenance, I have first-hand experience with the challenges we face daily. Today, I'm truly excited to share a pivotal change that will transform the way we handle self-employed earnings for child maintenance. No longer will we need to wait for cumbersome evidence to process changes in self-employment. Our new approach allows us to access crucial data immediately, streamlining a process that once took nearly 2 hours and a minimum of 6 weeks to complete. By significantly reducing this waiting period, we can reduce complaints, reduce repeat calls, and even reduce our court appeals, freeing up valuable expertise and resources across the department and wider services. This empowers my colleagues and me to concentrate on more complex cases and tackle the backlog we face, such as the 6,000 income changes in one office alone. But the impact of this change goes beyond mere time savings. It's a game changer for both our colleagues and our customers. As caseworkers, we often serve distressed and vulnerable individuals. We strive to deliver exceptional service with genuine empathy. And this new process will alleviate the stress and anxiety we experience in handling these sensitive cases. Now, I invite you to watch a video of one of my colleagues, Sheetal, that will showcase the profound impact this change will have on our colleagues and our customers.
I wanted to work at the Child Maintenance Services because it gives you a chance to help out families that are in need, families that have been estranged from each other. Also, the core focus of what we do is working for the children. Hi, I'm Sheetal and I'm a caseworker at the Child Maintenance Service. Currently we struggle a lot with self-employed income because we need particular pieces of evidence. It needs to be in the right format, and if they don't send that in, then it's just a straight reject and they're not getting what they should be getting. And you know, the paying parent might still be assessed on like a nil income or a really low income, and they're getting either nothing or £7 a week, which isn't enough to cover the basics for any child really. Not only are we dealing with complex cases on the daily, but having to deal with the stress of picking up the phone and potentially dealing with someone with quite a high possibility of dealing with someone that's distressed on the phone, threatening suicide, you know, got their own emotional issues, and having to deal with that as well as then going to process the case objectively. I had a receiving parent who'd reported a change for the paying parent, and she was adamant that he was working. She'd sent in pictures of his work van, like his own company van, and screenshots of text messages and posts from Facebook, and I had to tell her, like, we can't use that type of evidence, that doesn't count. And she said, I don't know what you want me to send in, like I've done everything that I possibly can. She was quite upset and she was like, it's not fair on me. I know that he's working, I know that he's living this lavish lifestyle and he's not paying for his kids that he chose to have. So having to call her back and say, look, there's nothing I can do other than reject the case. She was livid, she was frustrated, and she was really angry. And obviously she wasn't angry at me because she knows that what I'm doing is what we have to do, but just at the system in general. Now that I know that this solution exists, looking back, I think it could have helped so much. You know, I tried to get in contact with him so many times. I even did speak to him on the phone actually, but he wasn't willing to give us the information that we needed. And to think if I could have just gone back and pressed them 2 buttons, that would have just solved this case for us so quickly. But I think if the quicker we can kind of get this implemented, the better it is for everyone involved that works on income changes. Because for me personally, it would be everything if we could actually deliver on the promises that we tell the parents. I mean, if I could start using it today, that would be great. I've got a lot of cases that it would be really helpful for.
So Alvin and Sheetal have explained how they will benefit from our changes. We know working in child maintenance can be extremely stressful, and we absolutely should work to improve their experiences. Yet our ambitions go beyond this. We are also committed to service excellence, with a desire to support customers in difficult emotional and financial situations. Most of our customers want to pay a fair, correct amount for their children, and they are frustrated that they cannot quickly and easily provide the evidence that we ask them for. The solutions we have put in place will support compliance, ensuring paying parents pay the correct amount. This prevents them losing confidence in our system, pausing payments, and sometimes even just disengaging altogether and avoiding paying altogether. Our changes will help future-proof the system. And this is increasingly important as numbers of self-employed are continuing to rise. Now, your advice to us was to focus on developing our very specific idea rather than on the wider potential that we'd identified. So we've really embraced that, and we've really focused our efforts on delivering tangible change. As Paul has shown you, we've already implemented changes by giving representatives access to data. Now we want to strip out this manual process altogether. We will use some of the NTT funding to automate the process change we've put in place. Child Maintenance has a customer portal for paying parents, and that's where they can tell us about their change of earnings. So they will access this portal in just the same way as they do now. The difference is that they will not need to upload evidence, as the system will automatically cross-check with HMRC records. So this will increase accuracy, but it'll also remove the hassle and inconvenience for our customers. Automating the request will generate significant savings. Processing these income requests based on current volumes is equivalent to 10 people working full-time for 68 weeks. This is a conservative estimate. That's based on straightforward cases. In reality, cases are often complex and prolonged, requiring significant resource across the business. This automation can be built into existing child maintenance transformation plans. With funding, it's highly likely we will be able to go live in 2023, possibly as early as August. Furthermore, an initial data discovery with HMRC has identified untapped potential for better use of HMRC data. Our change could provide a blueprint for automating other changes, such as the dates children leave full-time education. And that, again, will save agent time and money. We would like to use the remaining prize fund to run a deeper data discovery, to identify further opportunities to better utilise existing HMRC data. And we don't want to stop there. And Bacola from HMRC will explain why.
How is this data discovery relevant and applicable to other government services and departments? Earlier discussions with the Cabinet Office data team revealed that they're developing a cross-government data sharing repository, which is in the early stages of including other government department data. We plan to further engage with this team to understanding the opportunities of Cabinet Office obtaining HMRC and DWP data sets. As an example, DWP had £8.8 billion overpayment due to error and fraud, the greatest cost being benefits assessments using incorrect earnings. We plan to use this platform today to engage with senior leaders and entity data partners to further explore this potential.
Thank you. So through working together through our different departments and disciplines, we've already been able to make some improvements to our processes that our agents use, and we'd like to go further. But as individuals involved in the data challenge process, we've also learned a lot as well. Better utilising HMRC's data was Alvin's idea originally. He put that forward. And Paul and Alvin have been empowered through this process to be able to identify and drive forward changes to the systems that they and their colleagues use every day. Gemma joined the civil service a year ago, and through this process, she's been able to really expand her networks and reach across the department and beyond. Through working with Bacola and John in HMRC, we've been able to understand, in DWP, been able to understand our own data systems better. Their technical knowledge has been invaluable to us understanding what data we receive, where it goes, and how best to utilise it. And for me, as a leader, I've had the job of trying to harness all this enthusiasm and all these ideas into something tangible. That's been really exciting. And I've also benefited from visiting Alvin and Paul in their offices to observe the day-to-day role that they have and the difficult job they have each day of dealing with child maintenance queries. And I really admire the difficult job and the work that they do every day. So I'm really proud that we've already delivered a tangible process change, and we're united as a team to go further and to go beyond that. So if we can secure your investment today, that's £13,000 changes of self-employed income that we could do automatically. We could check and approve automatically. That's 13,000 paying parents having the certainty of knowing how much they're expected to pay. And that's at least 13,000 children receiving the money that they're entitled to. And finally, we'd just like to end by offering to return to next year's Data Challenge final to show our automated system. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm sure you'll agree that was a brilliant first pitch to kick us off this afternoon with a real focus on potential benefits, not just to staff, but for ultimately for the public in some quite stressful situations. So now straight over to our dragons. Simon, your hand came up straight away.
So great pitch. Your timing was immaculate, wasn't it? Right on the buzzer. So I'm really intrigued by the additional opportunities to build on this. Can you bring to life for us the use cases, the scenarios, the opportunities where this technique could add further value across the department,
So
or even broader across government?
Gemma, would you like to talk about the data discovery and the wider potential there?
Yeah, so we've already been engaging quite closely with our data transformation teams to try and work out how we can use a similar type of situation to help with other things. So one of the things that we talked about was problems with the changes when people leave education, and that actually creates a backlog of requests as well. But that's quite localised. We've also had discussions across various departments, including our intelligence service, our fraud service, the Cabinet Office. So we've explored a lot of options whereby we think that by being cleverer with the data that we share, we can actually reduce fraud losses and errors significantly. Now, that's a little way off, so we didn't pitch for that in this presentation because we wanted to keep it manageable. But we are very excited that we may be able to explore these ideas in more detail.
And it's really not just about us getting more data into the department, but actually better understanding and being smarter with the data that we've got access to. Because what we've learned through this process is we were receiving data that we weren't necessarily aware of or fully utilising. So the data discovery would allow us to really interrogate the data that we receive from HMRC and make sure we're maximising opportunities to use that across the department.
Thank you. So Alison and then Aiden. So Alison first.
Thank you. Fantastic presentation, and I'm going to take a slightly different position to Simon, and I think it's important that we have different views on this. I remember the advice we gave you to land this one, get this one across the line. So I'm interested in the experience of getting that data agreement and the data flowing happening. What were the biggest hurdles? Were they the sort of ethics or legal technology? Because I think we learn a lot from trying to get that finished and then move on to the bigger things as well.
Yeah, shall I?
Yeah, shall I? I think when we started off, well, basically we had to contact various departments such as our delivery assurance team, first of all, because they've already got planned out and mapped out a series of progressions which they want to use. We call them sprint changes. So that's already planned out. So it was trying to have this to fit in with their model, which it does, obviously pretty well. Again, we had to go on to, I suppose we had to go on to our solicitors to check with them to see if there's any legal complications. Again, we had to go to our people who write up the instructions, which we have on our SharePoint, so that everybody follows the same process. It was trying to tie all those things in within the short space of time and get them done. But we have done that, and we're already delivering a service now, albeit that we want to take it a step further and make it automated. The difference being that right now, you'd have to pull a case in order to press a button, get the automatic information, and it disappears. That's done. But if you go a stage better, the automation would dip into that pile automatically, it would pull it out, and it'd be done straight away. No need for double handling, no need for accuracy checks. It's just done at the minute, straight away as they push it in.
I think when we initially started, we thought that it was the technology that was actually going to be the biggest block. But in actual fact, we discovered it wasn't really the technology. It was the processes that we had in place and not really understanding, you know, what we could share, what we could move around. So we had to do a lot of that behind the scenes before we could be confident that, you know, our policy people and our governance people were going to be happy with the changes that we were making.
Such an important point.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just be clear? You know, just to make up so that you understand, like, it's 16% of self-employed income, right? 16%, that's what we account for, self-employed with child maintenance. But yet we make up 23% of the arrears. I mean, that's huge. We're talking about 130 million.
Aiden.
Brilliant, thank you. So, well done, that was brilliant. And goodness me, you've made some progress since we last saw you at the semi-finals. 2 departments very close to my heart. My question is kind of building on Alison's one in terms of the what next. With this, if you were to win and get the funding, what is it that you need to do? That implementation, what does it actually look like? What's going to be the thing that will really make this happen and that pivot into, right, this is live? And what do you see as the biggest obstacle to that?
Certainly, so I can take that. So our very next week, I think it's Tuesday next week, we're meeting with the delivery assurance team, regardless of today's outcome, because we want to push ahead to automate this change. But before we even get to that stage, the process change is now there, it's on the system, but we do need to embed that with Paul and Alvin's colleagues. So we'll be using the kind of the profile from today to help remind and encourage our colleagues to look out for that and utilise that function. So there's more embedding of that process that needs to be done. And then through the automation, there's already a transformation programme happening in child maintenance. But we've got a lot of competition because there's a lot of improvements that we want to make to the system. So it'll be our job, so we'll continue working with our delivery assurance colleagues to make the case for why we think this is a worthy investment. And we're working towards, so as I think we mentioned, they're working in sprints at the moment. So if we can land and make that case within the next few weeks, then hopefully we can join the next appropriate sprint and then for the go live of August that Gemma referred to. So I think the biggest hurdle will be kind of making that case to make us in that shortlist of transformation projects.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sue, I know you had a question.
Yeah, really great presentation. You've made such great progress. You've got real passion about this. I'm going to ask a cheeky question though, since you've kind of opened the door to it. What difference does winning at this stage mean for you? Because it feels like you've got a lot of momentum already. You've made some significant progress. So can you tell us what is going to be the difference for you if you win today?
Yeah, I can. So I think so that long list of ideas and opportunities for our child maintenance programme for transforming our child maintenance service is a long list of things that we want to do. And so we will be competing as we are today, but with all that long list of transformation ideas as well. So hopefully this would give us the edge, it would give us the investment and the focus to be able to make sure that our idea does go into that sprint and the automation can happen. And I think in terms of I
think some of the funding is also quite stretched for next year. So conversations that we've had with the transformation teams are suggesting there isn't a lot of money left in the pot, actually. So we really could do with some assistance to really raise its profile. So it would really be a big help in getting us that development. And it would enable us to take that further and look at other opportunities, the blueprints that we talked about.
And it's the what if we can't secure the funding today, we wouldn't achieve the automation. We think that's unlikely, but we'd still have the process change there. So we've achieved something, but without the funding as well, without the investment and the future partnership, we wouldn't be able to start the data discovery. And that's just a big what if, because we didn't know that we had access to some of the data that we've identified through this process. What else is hiding? What else could be better utilised that's already at our fingertips? And I think we'll just be kind of slightly kicking ourselves if we're not successful today, that we won't get to explore and do that data discovery and find out what the untapped potential is.
And I think another thing is the alignment of the data that we'll be sharing with DWP, HMRC, DWP to just move the work forward in terms of the kind of data they receive and when they receive it to make the automation possible.
Fantastic. So I see from the clock we've got 40 seconds left. If there was a final question from the judges, or I'm going to give any of you a final chance to say why you should be the winners today.
I think we could, okay, go on.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I was going to say our customers deserve it. They're public, it's the public. They're paying for our service. And I think it's our responsibility to do the best we can to give them value for money. And if we're missing out on opportunities where we could potentially be feeding a child or getting the extra funds that they need for that, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? We're failing them if we don't.
I'd add to that one as well, just that, so a large part of what I do is I help out with the support channel, which is just helping caseworkers, and the volume of requests we get for help with self-employed cases is tremendous. I think, and some of these are incredibly complex. So being able to automate these changes, it would make a real difference to that, and I think helps out a great deal.
And the final word for me, when you think about data across government, I mean, it's just a game changer that we have accurate data for all our customers.
Thank you so much. The passion there is coming through, and I love that you bring it back right down to your customer and the individuals that you're trying to help. I'm sure you will want to join with me in giving a big round of applause to our first team.